Preparing a Thanksgiving feast with your Thermador appliances can actually be a really stress-free experience. You know, all it really takes is two things: some advanced preparation and planning, and really thinking about how to use each of the appliances that you have in your kitchen. We're going to start off by showing you what to get done the day before the feast, so you don't spend too much time the day of the feast trying to do everything. Now, if you're cooking in the Thermador steam oven, the weight limit on your turkey will be 14 pounds. If you're cooking in one of the larger ovens, you can cook 2 small turkeys side by side, or you can go up to 20 or 25 pounds. Now, when we roast our turkeys in convection, we actually don't use a brine. I can tell you with great authority that a brine turkey will taste waterlogged if cooked in convection. What we do find works very, very effectively is a rub of kosher salt, and we've actually used paprika here. It's going to give us extra color. So choose the seasoning that you want, mix it with a little kosher salt, and rub it into the turkey overnight. We don't stuff our turkeys because of the faster cooking time, so we prefer to cook the stuffing separately. You can, however, fill the cavity with some onions or seasoning, whatever you prefer, to infuse that extra flavor into the turkey. Other things we find that are well worth doing the day before are making giblet stock. Giblet stock is easy to make. You're simply simmering it with some onions and bay leaves, some peppercorns, and then you've got a lovely stock ready for your gravy base the next day. Cranberry sauce is easy to make the day before. You create your simple syrup, fold in your cranberries, cook it for about 15 to 20 minutes. Once it's cooled, you store that in the fridge. Now, having soup on hand at Thanksgiving is a great idea because, I don't know, eating one big meal seems to make everybody even hungrier and they want more meals. We're going to make a soup with roasted butternut squash. It's wonderful to roast it rather than just put it in the pan and simmer it. The vegetables caramelize and they have a little more flavor. So we'll create the base on the cooktop, then we'll add in the butternut squash, finish cooking it together, puree it, set it aside, and season it before serving. The other thing we like to do is we like to make our own croutons for our stuffing. Nice crusty bread, take the crusts off, add some melted butter and some seasonings, spread it onto a large rimmed baking sheet, and then just bake it in the oven until they're crisp and golden. Now, you'll notice that these baking sheets that I'm using in the Thermador oven are really, really large. These are called 3/4 sheet pans. By not having the vegetables or the croutons crowded on a smaller tray, you know they'll cook evenly and get the caramelization you want. Thanksgiving feasts usually involve quite a lot of different vegetables to meet everybody's must-haves. Roasted root vegetables. Now, we've used a medley of yams, sweet potatoes, and beets. They're all just chopped up the day before, and to store them overnight at home, either use stackable containers or even Ziploc bags. And if you want, you can even put the oil on it in advance. We also like to include some colorful squash in our Thanksgiving feast. These are delicata and carnival squash. We toss these squash with a little bit of chipotle spice, olive oil. Oh my goodness, they're just such a beautiful accompaniment to this very fresh and natural feast. We're going to include some kale in our feast, and we've mixed it with some of those wonderful multicolored carrots. Tomorrow we're just going to put it in some olive oil and roast it. We don't actually make a casserole with our green beans, but we do roast them with a little bit of shallots just for a quick 10 minutes, and they're just beautiful and crisp and flavorful. In convection, we can layer in all these different foods. There's no transference of flavor. It's a very controlled cooking environment. We're going to include some Brussels sprouts in our feast. We're going to saute those over fairly high heat. We're going to blister them, and we're going to include a little bacon and some onions to make them especially delicious. And we're going to steam a little bit of tricolor quinoa and fold it into the Brussels. And then we're going to add a little dressing, and we're going to serve the Brussels sprouts as a salad. We have a lot of side dishes, but the prep is done. Now, don't be daunted by all these different bowls and utensils and things you're going to use. Remember, what else do you have in your Thermador kitchen? You have that dishwasher. For all these prep bowls, use the quick wash or express cycle. The prep is done, let's get on with the cooking. Personally, I always like to make my desserts the morning of Thanksgiving. If you do want to give it a try, just get the pastry made the day before, take it out of the fridge about half an hour before you want to use it, and by the time the oven's preheated, your pies will be ready to go in the oven. So we've made a traditional pecan pie. Oh, we did add some chocolate chips because they go awfully well together. And we have a pumpkin pie. Pies take about 1 hour to cook, but there's just nothing that beats freshly baked pie. When we bake pies in the Thermador convection ovens, it's one of the few times I actually use the regular bake mode and follow the traditional recipe temperature and timing. Remember, with pies, you actually want the base of the pie to cook through. So in that case, we drop down to rack position 2, 1 rack up from the bottom. It's not time to start cooking the turkey yet, so what else can we do? You can go ahead and steam potatoes for mashed potatoes. I promise you, you'll never ever boil another potato. The difference in flavor and texture is just astonishing. When I steam potatoes in the steam oven, I do it in the solid pan, and once I put the pan in the oven, I just pour in a little bit of water. Then we're going to drain the potatoes, mash them, and hold them on the lowest extra low setting. Now remember, when it's on the lowest extra low setting, the burner will only stay lit for 7 seconds. It will cycle off for 53 and then reignite. You'll never ever scorch those potatoes holding them on that lowest extra low. So of course, if I'm cooking one thing in the steam oven, I have to cook another thing. So I cooked a little bit of tricolor quinoa because we're going to turn that into the salad with the Brussels sprouts. We've moved along here now. The pies are being baked, the side dishes we've started on. Our next step will be to get the turkey going. Now remember, a 14-pound turkey is the weight limit for the steam oven. It will take about 1.25 hours to cook in the steam oven, but you still need to allow that good 40 minutes for resting, carving, and gravy making. Once the turkey comes out of the oven, now it's time for you to load up your main oven with all those root vegetables that take longer to cook. Remember, the advantage of convection is that you can cook on multiple racks at one time. We've got our roasted root vegetable medley in the oven, we've put our delicata squash medley in the oven, and we're going to add in the kale just for the last 10 minutes for it to crisp up. We have our stuffing casserole in the steam oven, and we're going to add the green beans and shallots into the steam oven for about 10 minutes. So all we have to do now is make gravy. Now you can see that I have the turkey on a rack nestled over the solid pan. And you can see the incredible amount of juice that actually came into the pan. Combine them with the giblet stock, skim off the fat, and then I'm ready to make gravy. Remember, in convection, the reason we elevate the meat, we put it on a rack in a shallow pan, is so the convection heat can circulate around it. If you use a deep turkey roaster, and if you put the turkey directly flat on the pan, the heat of the pan leaches moisture out of the turkey. We prefer to keep the juice in the turkey. We like the faster cooking time of convection. Overall, the results are really pleasing. So we had really a lot of fun preparing this feast with the Thermador Pro Grand Steam Range today. If you follow the steps that we've outlined today in terms of planning, preparation, you really do have the tools at hand to pull this off. We cooked a lot of food. We've got the roasted vegetables, we've got the beautiful turkey, we've got the Brussels sprout salad and cranberry sauce, gravy, mashed potatoes and soup. But we can't let a feast go by without making some appetizers. So we're using the Thermador electric griddle to make some delicious avocado quesadillas, because not everybody can wait until you get the whole feast pulled together. We wish you a lot of success with your cooking this holiday season. Your Thermador tools have what it takes. The rest is up to you.